purpose tonight is to focus on ways to use Google Slides, and I'm not talking about presentations. There's lots of ways that you can use Google Slides with your students to meet standards and have them be a creative collaborator where they're communicating and expressing themselves using digital tools. So again, another chance to do a poll. How are you already, or how comfortable are you with your use of Google Slides? So I'm going to launch that poll. You have 3 choices. You've never used it, you're comfortable with it, or you are a power user. This one. Also, feel free to answer in the chat. 52% of you have cast your vote. Still waiting on a couple more. All right. It looks like the majority of you are pretty comfortable with slides. There's a few that have never used it, and I'm shocked there's no power users out there. By the time we finish tonight, some of you guys will be power users. No worries. So thinking about Google Slides and using that chat feature, let's talk about the ways that you and your students have used Google Slides. Those of you that said you were comfortable with it, perhaps you have used it with your students. So tell us in the chat window how you are using that wonderful tool. And if anybody would like to just share out verbally, that's okay too.
My students are currently making a digital ABC book, an informational book about the human body, which ties in with our science standards right now. So we're integrating writing, which is informational, and science. And so they're making a PowerPoint. I made a template for each student, and they all have the template A to Z. They have to say A is for, and whatever has to do with the human body. Then they had to research it and use that word in a sentence, giving information. And then they had to insert a picture, or they could make the background of the slide, the picture. And so they're currently working on that right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. So we've got presentations, student projects, the ebook, research morning meeting, doing weather and climate. So hopefully you guys can look at some of the ideas that are popping up in chat, and if I don't cover some of those, you can contact one another and find out more details. Now I'm seriously having technical difficulties. Here we go. Maybe. All right, try that again. That slide is just not going to load. You love it when technology doesn't work. All right, so this slide is supposed to be telling you about a Chrome extension. It's called G Suite Training Chrome extension. So I'm going to come out of the presentation, maybe this way. You can try it this way. If you guys will click where I'm pointing with my little avatar, that will give you the link to this Chrome extension. And what that does is it puts a question mark for you in your Google stuff. And if you have questions, you can click on the question mark and it will walk you through what your possible answers would be. So if you want to load that Chrome extension, you're welcome to. You don't need it for tonight. I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. I'll chat over here out of the way. All right, so let's talk about creating diagrams. I had a teacher actually ask me about timelines because they were working on biographies, and she wanted a website to go to do timelines on, which I gave her one. It's called Satori. See, but you can also create timelines and other diagrams out of slides. So slide 17 gives you guys some ideas of some possible diagrams that you can run. But I want to show you how it works. It's really super easy. So to insert a diagram, you go to Insert in the menu, and about middle way down, you're going to click on Diagram, and the diagrams pop up. So you can see I can do a grid, a hierarchy. There's the timeline, process, relationship, and a cycle. So I'm going to choose timeline. I can decide how many dates I want on my timeline. Click in the drop down from 4 to 6. And I also can choose the color by clicking the drop down and picking a color. Then you'll notice that under the timeline, you have several different types of timeline diagrams. And I like this one. So I'm going to click it, and notice that it automatically inserts in slide. Click, highlight that text, and replace with, and then change the dates to be whatever date they need to be. Now, some of you, I know Ms. Rimmer works with kindergarten. It's kind of hard for them to type. If you use the toolbar or the tool menu and go to voice type speaker notes, it will text type what your students say down in the speaker area, and then you can copy and paste it into the appropriate place anywhere on the slide. So kind of keep that in mind as you're working through this. So what I would like for you to do now is please open a Google slide of your own. This is going to be your evidence of learning. Name that Google slide your last name, and then on your first slide, insert a diagram of your choice and type some information. While you're doing that, I'm going to be quiet so you can work. If you have questions, pop them in the chat or unmute your microphone and let us know. I've used this earlier, she said. The information that you need to type, just make up something. I just want to know that you are trying to put in some kind of diagram. So, for example, if you put in a timeline, you might type in January, you had PD in your PJs. February, you're going to celebrate Valentine's Day. March, you're going to welcome spring. April, you're going to enjoy spring break. All right, so I'm going to repeat and kind of show you again what I want you to do. In your own Google slide presentation, you guys are going to have, delete all of this. You guys are going to have a slide and you're going to go to Insert Diagram. When your diagrams pop up on the right-hand side of your screen, you're going to choose one. For example, timeline. I'm going to leave mine at 4 dates because I want to keep it simple. And this time I'm going to click this one and bring it over. So as I said, replace the text. Guys that were having confusion about it. And I apologize. It looks like my Time Warner or Spectrum or whoever they are this year is not working very well tonight. So raise your hand. I'm just kidding. If you love Time Warner or Spectrum and my hand is not up, trust me. You will be sharing these things with me. I will show you at the end of our session tonight where they go. Oh, AT&T is slow too. Oh, that's just great. Lovely. There's just, we should just, all of us educators should come in together and come up with a way to do internet service. We already know how to do good customer service. Anyway, you will be sharing this with me. This is your evidence for your DLC credit. Please check in chat if you're having any trouble with directions. And Christy's trying to help you. All right, guys, once more, I'm going to show you the diagram thing because I'm seeing lots of you are having trouble. And I want you to be more specific when you're telling me you're having trouble because I can't see you. That's another thing about PD in your PJs. I can't see your screens. So you have to help me with what you're having trouble with. So I have my slide. I'm going to go to the tool menu and I'm going to click Insert. And middle way down, I'm going to choose Diagram. And I choose Diagram over on the right-hand side. Screen pops up with all the different types of diagrams that Google Slides provides. I have been using Timeline as an example, because that one's the one that lots of teachers do. You click how many dates in this example or how many boxes or whatever, it depends on which one you're choosing. I'm leaving mine at 4 to keep it simple. And then as I scroll down, my choices all look different. So when I see one that I like, I click on it and it immediately pops into my slide. Once you pop it into your slides, you just highlight the text and replace it. Just keep it simple. I just need to know that you've tried the diagram. How do you get rid of the title boxes? They're grouped. So notice on the screen, I've got this selected. So if I go to the menu and click Arrange and then Ungroup, each of the boxes will then be separate. So you can click on them, move them out, delete them, what have you. All right, let's keep moving. Let's go to the next one. Incorporating digital media. So now you have the ability to insert video from Google Drive. So that means you don't have to just use YouTube videos. You can actually use videos that your students have created and saved in Google Drive. They can actually upload them into the slide. So when you go to your insert menu and choose video, your choices will pop up to search YouTube, pull in a link from YouTube, or pull in any videos you have in Google Drive. Just remember that some student videos don't belong on YouTube. You have to have permissions to publish student work. So just be careful with it being on YouTube. This way, if you just put it in Drive, especially for our little ones, just be sure that when you do have it in Drive that you click share. Otherwise, when they click on your video, they can't play it because you haven't shared it to where people with the link can view it. You also can choose and end a video, and this is huge. You don't have to play an entire clip that you pull in from YouTube. So let me show you how that works. I'm going to actually add another slide, clear this out because you guys are going to do this too. So I'm going to go insert video. I am going to pull in one from my drive. Let's pull in Jason. Select it, and it pops in place. Now I go to format options. Move my chat out of the way. Notice now on the right hand side of my screen, I have video playback, I have size and position, and I have crop shadow. If I click video playback, and if this had been a YouTube video, it would have worked better. It will have start and end times, and I can decide if I want to start it 5 seconds into the video and end it 1 minute in or whatever. You can put your times in place. While we're you can also decide to mute the audio. So why would you want to mute the audio? Maybe it's a great video and you want to talk over it instead of listening to the person that created the video, or do your own teaching points over top of it. So those two options will show up when you have a video put in your presentation. One other idea is to bring in a bunch of videos and create a playlist inside of your Google Slides. Especially those of you that are elementary, you don't want other videos popping up or anything else playing once your students have watched the video that you want to see. You can actually bring in videos and have multiple videos on each in a slide presentation. So slide 1 would have a video on it, slide 2 would have another video on it, slide 3 would have a third video on it, and so forth. Again, those videos could come from YouTube, screencasts that you make, or videos that you have in your Google Drive. Now, since my internet's being wonky, this may not work. It's not going to. Love it when technology doesn't always do what I want it to. All right, so guys, on slide number 26, you will notice that there is a teeny little video in the bottom right-hand corner. So that is video noticeable. Went out, so I'm going to repeat that. I've shrunk the video. I've shrunk the video to make it tiny, so the video is not really seen. Actually have easy on that. So what I want you guys to do is to give it a go. Just put in a YouTube video into your Google Slide presentation. You're only creating, you've got one slide now that we've done for your diagram, so add slide number 2. And I want you just to insert a YouTube video. So search for a grumpy cat video and put it in place. Yes, you can use one from your Google Drive if you want to. I'm not going to ask you guys to change the time when it starts or mute it or any of that. I just want you to put video. In your presentation for me, for your evidence of learning, we have a diagram and we have a video. That's it so far. Again, when you click on your video, let's go back up here to where I actually when you click on the video and you've got the blue box around it, in your toolbar, you should have format options that will show up. That is where your video playback should show up. So if you want to mute it or change your times. And yes, Kim, just insert a video. All right, the next, I'm going to keep going while you guys put that in, because I bet this is not going to work either. Maybe. All right, so Google has added the ability to use is if you go to the blue present button and go full screen with your presentation. But your students can do this too. So now I'm in full screen mode, and notice I have my toolbar. You know, normally you go forward or backwards when you're presenting or teaching, but now you have the closed caption ability. So when you click that and allow your microphone, notice now as I'm talking, everything that I'm saying is showing up. So why is that important? There is research showing that when you have closed captioning on, it improves student comprehension. And I heard on the radio yesterday on the way to work that more people are even turning
Are we supposed to be seeing your
attention.
words? Are we supposed to be seeing the words you're saying now on the screen?
You should be able to, Megan, but you may not be able to because, you know, my internet's being weird.
Yeah. I haven't seen them, but I was just curious.
Okay.
You could see it. It's right below the picture of benefits there. It's just real small, so you might
I'm
just
seeing them.
And again, it could be your screen resolution or whatever, but it's at the bottom. It's kind of neat though, because your students can go into presentation mode, and you can do this too, guys. When you're in full presentation mode and you have your screen across the bottom, your closed captioning, the C button will cast. Your students can actually talk and record over their presentations. And the good thing about that is I'm not going to have you do that. And it so all of that toolbar. But I did mention Screencastify. That is the extension that I wanted to tell you guys about tonight. Screencastify is a free extension. It's linked on slide number 30, where it says grab Screencastify extension here. You add that to your Chrome. Your students can also add that, and then they can record, as you can see, their screen. You can even include the webcam, where it has their little picture or your picture in the bottom. And you can embed that webcam for them to be able to see you. So if you want to do a flipped lesson, you can use it for that, or have your students use Screencastify to show their work. So you guys are doing things with weather and climate and body systems. Once they complete that, you could use the Screencastify and they'll have a video of it. So let's see. Christy, I'm going to pause for a moment. Are there any questions? Yes, this is the same as Lane. Any questions that I'm not seeing? And I would love to come visit you. All right, I don't see any questions I haven't answered. Does closed caption work with our LED, with your TVs? I'm assuming you're talking about your LED TV at school. It works through Google Slides. So if you're using Google Slides, you can do that. I would think that the LED would have a setting to turn closed captioning on anything, because you're right, it's a TV. So they should have left a manual there. Check that and see. And yes, Mr. Varielli, you have just 2 slides right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's keep going. Megan had kind of talked about this already. You can publish ebooks. If you'll remember, she told us about the body system that her classroom is working on. The thing to remember when you're publishing those ebooks is to change your page layout. It's to always look like it's a PowerPoint or a presentation. You actually want it to look like a book. So everybody do this with me. I want you to click on the file in your menu, and almost to the bottom, you should see page setup. And by default, it's usually widescreen, but if you click the drop down and choose custom, then change your 10 to 8.5 and your 5 to 11 and click apply. And notice now that's paper size, portrait. And if we go into presentation mode, it's going to look more like a book. Plus, you kind of have a little bit more real estate, if you will, of place to put the work. Next thing you can do when you're making those ebooks is to hyperlink table of contents. So if I wanted to jump in Megan's example, the table of contents down to letter L, I could link within the presentation. How to do that. On my screen, I've created a table. I've also just put the words of things that are in this presentation. So you and your students would type on a page their table of contents. Then you highlight the word, and the way that you highlight is you click and drag across it so it's highlighted. So I'm highlighting the word diagrams. And if I go to my toolbar, almost all the way over to the right, you will find the little chain link icon that says insert link. Click that. And notice that right underneath the box where we normally paste in the website address, it says slides in this presentation. So if I click the forward arrow to slides in this presentation, and then I go down to the slide where the diagrams are and click on it and click apply. Now if I click diagrams, it's going to jump me back to the diagram. Same like click the link, slides in this presentation, and go to digital media and apply. So now what I want you guys to do, you're going to create a third page in your presentation for me. And I want you to type the word diagram. And I want you to link that word diagram to the slide that has your diagram on it. Please let us know if you need help in the chat window. All right, so I'm going to do the how to, because you can page numbers. So I'm going to highlight the word diagrams. I'm going to click the little chain link in my toolbar. I'm going to click slides in this presentation. I'm going to scroll until I find the slide that I want to link to, and I'm going to click the slide name, and I'm going to click apply, and now my link is there. And you know it's linked when it's underlined. Usually it changes to a different color. And you have to leave it storybook size. You can go back to your normal size. I call it a chain link. It's kind of what it looks like to me. This little guy that I'm pointing to on the screen. Molly, you'll probably have to drag and drop around your diagram to select the whole thing. Let me go back up to my diagrams. Move my chat out of the way. If you drag and drop across the whole thing, you can grab it, and then you've got your moving tool, and you can also resize if you need to. Don't stress over it. Please don't stress over it. I just have to have some kind of evidence that you guys are giving this a go. Yes, Mr. Virielli, link it to the very first page. Totally leave that ebook idea is you can publish it to the web, and then once you publish it to the web, you'll have a link that it gives you, and you can actually open that link anywhere. So your students could publish it, put the link to their book in Google Classroom, and the other students could view it as it plays on the web. So we're not going to do this. I mean, you don't have to do this for evidence tonight, but I want to show you how it's done with this presentation. So to publish, you click on File, and middle way down it says Publish to the Web, and it pops up the Publish to the Web box. And you can either link it or you can embed it. Most of us aren't doing Google anymore because we have Google Classroom. Chain link in a minute, guys, just hang on. So I want to click slideshow as soon as the player loads, and then I'm going to have it move every minute because they can choose to go faster than that if they want to. And once I click start publishing, it's going to give me, and I'm not going to, I click OK, it will give me a web link that will be just to this book. And your ITF can come and help you do that. So one more time, where does the chain link? So once you highlight a word or click on a picture, your toolbar at the top changes. So if you go to where you change your font color and move over 2 spots from your font color, click on the insert link. That is your chain link. Then click slides in this presentation and choose the slide that you want it to go to and click apply. Your hyperlink's not going to work if you don't have it selected. It's like I tell the students, you have to select it to affect it. So make sure you have something highlighted or you've clicked on an image, because you can link those as well. All right, the last thing I want to show you guys is infographics. Remember, you can change the size of your presentation pages to make them infographics. And infographics are everywhere today. So students need to be able to understand how to read that information, and the best way to teach them is how to create it. So there is an add-on in Google Slides and what that does is provides thousands of little icons that students can use to create infographics or put icons on their book or in a presentation. So for those of you that are not familiar with add-ons, let's go up to your toolbar and click on the word add-ons. And you guys will choose Get Add-ons. And this opens the web store with all the different possibilities for add-ons that you can add to use within Google Slides. Tons and tons. And yes, your students have access to most of these. As teachers, you have access to more than your kids do. So if you type in noun project in the search box, it will pop up the icons by noun project and you add it to your Google Slides. So now when I go to add-ons, I have add-on icons by noun project. So I click that and then click search icons. On the right-hand side of my screen, I can now search for all of these icons. So notice here's a camera. So if I want to insert that icon, I just click it and it inserts into my presentation. I'm not asking you guys to necessarily do that for tonight's evidence. I just want to show you that it's there and show you what you can do with it. So on slide number 39, this idea came from Matt Miller, who is the author of Ditch That Textbook. And he suggests, especially for young learners, that as teachers, we build by putting icons out for the students to use and they can drag onto their page. So he is showing you that you can actually use the space around the page of your presentation or your book. So if I go back to the icons and I pull in, let's pull in the truck. So I can drag this truck over into the area outside of my actual page. So the students would drag onto their page the things that they would need, just to make it easy for them. The cool thing though is it shows you guys about add-ons and it shows you the noun project that you can use for copyright-free little icons. Any questions about that? All right, we're coming to a close for our session tonight. I hope you guys have gotten some ideas, some new ideas that you can use or how you might use this with your students. If you've got a great idea and you want to share, please click out in the chat and add your thoughts. Let's see, Molly. Okay, Molly, I've already added some add-ons to mine, so that's why you're seeing some different things. I have Pear Deck and Noun Project, but when I click Get Add-ons, you should be able to see some of the same choices that I could add to my Google Slides that you have. Again, your students won't have all of these because your teachers, you get more. But if you see one you want your students to have, let your ITF know and we can get it added to their store.